Hey guys, today I have some journals to share with you. They're going to be available on my website. I'll have all of the information for the restock in the description box, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse at the journals. I've been taking a little break from my regular filming schedule just so that I could catch up on journals, because I've had these on the go for a while but I haven't had enough time to dedicate to them to get them done. So the last couple of weeks I've been just dedicating all my time to the journals just so that I could get them finished. And I do have another 3 journals that I'm working on that are pretty close, so they won't be too far behind. So there's 3 journals here and they're not necessarily themed, but I have taken some of my favorite images that I've used on my own personal journals for these books. And you'll probably recognize the images that I've chosen. So we have this one, same image, this little one, which is this image over here, and then my current journal, which is this really big one, same image again. So these are some of my very favorites. I just love these illustrations, and I just wanted to sort of recreate the same sort of vibes these journals have. I feel like even though they're not themed, they sort of have a bit of a fairy tale vibe to them. And so that's what I've done with these 3, and they are very similar, but they have their differences. So this one, you can tell it's got lots of blue tones, especially on the outside cover. They all have their little dangles, and I've played around with some different distressing on each of the covers. This one's probably the least distressed. So this one's really pretty. They all have this decal on the spine, and I've just done my binding so that it doesn't interfere with that decal. Here are the charms for this journal. There's some different buttons and beads on there. And then all of the journals have some book corners. These are the Tim Holtz book corners. For the inside covers, I did some embossed cardstock in black, and then I just put some gold over the top to bring out that embossing. And they each have a different pattern on the inside, a different embossing pattern. And they each have these little pockets on both the back and front cover. And I've just made these little tags. Most of them have vintage wallpaper on them. And then I'm going to be really quick with the flip through, but they have pretty much my normal variety of pages. So vintage ledger papers, scrapbook papers, and I've done some stitching. There's some fabric, there's some book pages, there's some pockets. This is a vintage envelope tucked in there. And I have tucked a fair amount of things into the pockets, so it does look fairly bulky, but you can see there's still lots of growing room, and if you take everything out of the pockets you'll have even more growing room, so if you need it you can take that stuff out. And like I said, I'm just going to flick through pretty quickly with these, but I've tried to tuck something into every single pocket just so that there's some fun little goodies for you to find. And I'll have up on my website a gallery page, so if you'd like to look at some still photos of the journals as well, I'll leave that link in the description box as well. A little lace pocket, some vintage playing cards, and beautiful bird book images. So lots of fun papers to play with. That's a little vintage linen pocket, vintage photos. That's a top loading pocket there. There's a vintage envelope tucked inside that one. So that's the first one. This is the next one. I'll just give you a little close up at the cover. This one's really lovely and distressed. I really like how it turned out. There's the back, and it's got the same decal, same book corners, and then a nice little selection of beads and buttons. They all have these seam binding closures as well, so you can tie them closed. So this one has this floral design on the inside cover, and there's a couple of vintage wallpaper tags, and then again all the same sorts of papers, so they all have the same sort of variety of things, and lots of pockets with things tucked inside. That's a little side loading pocket there with that vintage linen. Some really pretty papers. I tried to keep all of the paper selection really on the pretty side. So this is a Craft Consortium paper, which I absolutely love. And then there's some crepe paper, which is beautiful as well. flick through pretty quickly. So vintage envelope tucked in there. This is one of my papers with the mushrooms. And there is that one. And then we have this one, which is really pretty. Again, same decal on the spine. I really love the distressing effects on this one as well. It's really interesting. It's got some really interesting paint textures. They all have this gold embossing. There's the back. And then the charms on this one, there's some pretty pink tones and some red tones just to bring out this colour on the front. Then inside, this one's got another floral embossed paper in the back and in the front. A couple of tags in there as well. And then again, all the same sorts of papers. So another quick flick through for you guys, just so you can get an idea of what is in each book. This pretty wallpaper pocket, little pretty envelope tucked in there. Another little embroidery pocket up the top. So they have a lot of pages and a lot of things to play with, but I definitely think it's important to leave room to grow, because if you buy a journal that's already bulky, then it's going to be really hard to use it, and I think they get even more interesting and more pretty when you use them. So I like to make sure that I leave lots of room. And like I said, if you take out all the ephemera pieces that I've included, you'll have even more growing room, so you can really bulk them right up. So those are the 3 journals, and they measure approximately, they're very slightly different to each other. They measure approximately 5 by 7.5 each. And each one will come in a little bag that I've stitched up with some embroidery pieces. So I think I'm going to put this blue one in here. I'll probably put this pretty pinky toned one with that one, and this one with that one. Not that it really matters, but they are pretty bags. I used some really pretty linens that I have that I need to start using up and stop hoarding, so they will come in a pretty little bag to get them to safely. If you're interested in catching the restock, I'll leave all the information in the description box so that you can check it out. I hope you guys are all doing really well, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye.